So I've been doing some spring cleaning, and yes, I know it's not spring, and I know I'm running a season behind, but I've got around to doing it, which is better than I had expected, and it wasn't as bad as I thought. Now, I'm not where I'd want to be, but I made enough progress I can say, okay, I'm done for now. I have a new set of things to do. I gotta sell some stuff, donate some stuff, get rid of a few other things, but it didn't take as long as I thought. It took longer than I hoped, but not as long as I thought. And I find that's often the way these things go. I thought it would take me at least half the day, if not all day. It took me about an hour and a half, and part of that was reorganizing some things to store them a little more compactly, and those are things I should probably get rid of, but I'm not quite sure how to go about doing that right at the moment, so I'm holding off on that for now. And it wasn't as bad as I thought. That's the main thing. I had to reorganize some stuff yesterday as well, and that took me maybe an hour, and I thought it was going to take me all day, just take forever to be done, and it went a lot faster than I thought, and I find that's often the case. Seneca, I think it was, said, we suffer more in our imagination than we do in reality. And that's true of a lot of things. A lot of things, when you get started on them, like cleaning, picking up stuff, it seems really awful. But once you get started, it's not as bad. And I will fully admit that sometimes it is as bad as you think it is. But 9 times out of 10, I think, if not 99 times out of 100, it's not as bad as you think. It's going to be some work, but it's not going to be as much work as you're thinking about it, especially if it's something you've put off doing for a long time. Some of this cleaning was stuff I knew I should have done months ago, but I didn't want to do it. And so I put it off, and there's still more to do, but I made good progress today, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. The only reason I stopped was I had a few other things to do, and I kind of made enough progress to where it's one of those things with cleaning where, like, once you clean one room, and then you, like, if it's real bad, and you clean one room, then when you clean the next room, a lot of that stuff winds up in the previously cleaned room, so you can see it, and it just makes it seem worse. And I'm trying to avoid that. So I approached it as, okay, I'm going to take this section, I'm going to get this section done, and figure out what I'm doing with the things, and then move on to the next section. And I got more done than I thought. I actually expanded that and cleared out several other things, which was nice. It was very nice to do. It's not where I want it to be. There's more stuff than I'd like. I don't really sit here and preach minimalism, but it is something I aim towards, because having too much stuff is kind of weighs on you, and having cleared up some of that stuff really did help. Some of it, unfortunately, was just stored in a different location, but it is stored more organized, which does happen, and I need to decide what I'm doing with it. It may be sellable, but I'd have to look, and I just haven't had the time to do that since I started filming this shortly after I finished. There's a few other things I'd like to pick up, but for the most part, other than active projects, it's relatively clean now, which is good. And it's kind of freeing in a way, because I don't have that stuff weighing on me quite as heavily, and I hadn't realized it was until I started picking it up, and it's like, oh, yeah, no, I have kind of thought about this every time I've walked into this closet or into this room. It's like, oh, yeah, the thing's there, gotta deal with it. And so having dealt with it is a lot better. So in that vein, and in the vein of the quote from Seneca, it's often better to, if you find yourself thinking about something a lot, like, oh, I need to clean, oh, I need to take care of this, get this repair done, do whatever thing, instead of spending all that time thinking about it, pick one of those things, figure out how it's going to be done. Take 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, depending on how complex the task is, maybe 5 minutes, and sit down, make a plan, and then do the plan. Stop thinking about it and just do. I think a lot of people these days think too much, which is an odd thought in itself. But I think people spend too much time thinking, too much time on introspection, too much time on thought instead of action. I think we all know somebody who thinks without acting, and we all know somebody who acts without thinking. I'm coming around to the thought of balancing between those two is obviously the best, but the action is probably better. And maybe that's because I'm probably more prone to thinking than action. But most of the times when I've just done something, even if it hasn't worked, the consequences of failing haven't been as bad. And obviously you have to calibrate that to the situation you're in. Maybe use your brain, right? But more action is probably what you need. Like this year, I've been trying to walk more. Um, I have a step counter on the phone, and I'm trying to get that up closer to 6,000 steps a day on average for the year. Because I don't get that every day, I know, but some days I do a lot more, and so I'm just trying to bring that toward 6,000 steps a day. Just because I've noticed when I don't go for walks, when I don't do things, I feel worse. And sometimes I'll start thinking about going for a walk. It's like, it's kind of hot, it's too difficult, or it's too cold, or it's rainy, or what have you. And generally, I've come around to just go for the walk, right? It's one thing if it's pouring down. Okay, maybe not that day. But if it's hot, well, it's just going to be hot. Like, you'll be all right. You're not going to be outside for too long, at least in my case, and just do it. Just do it. And with the cleaning today, that's how I got started. I was like, okay, I'm done thinking about this. I'm just going to do it. And that worked really well. And other things have been like, okay, I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to take an hour or 30 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever it was, and work on this one thing. And whatever gets done in that time frame is what gets done. And I'll look at it when the timer's up and see where I'm at. And most of the time when the timer goes off, it's kind of, okay, I'm like 10 minutes from finishing, so I'm just going to finish it. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to kill my momentum. I'm just going to keep going. It's the other thing I've learned. Not just, act more, because the more you think about it, the worse it's going to seem. You're just going to keep putting it off, so just start on it. But also, don't give up momentum. Like, there are times where, okay, the task is done, take a rest. But sometimes it's, okay, this part of the task is done, and I'm already thinking about it. I'm already in the zone for working on it. So just keep going. It's one of the things I've noticed is like, I try to write every day. Haven't published anything, which is the next step and needs to be the thing I just do. I just don't feel I have enough on one thing to publish or even, freely post online, but those can be shorter. So I probably need to just sit down, focus on one, write what I feel is enough for it, put it out there, and see what happens. The daily writing has kind of helped me keep on track with other things. What also has helped is making a little block calendar where it's like 4 things I want to do every day. So say, walking, writing, and then, pick a few other things, some exercises, some stretching, that sort of thing. And just, write out Monday through Sunday and just cross off the days as you get there. And that really helps you stick to your goals in that case. And you make daily progress. So, even if in one day it doesn't feel like you made good progress, you still kept at it, which over time will compound. And also by the time Friday rolls around and you're kind of tired from the week, you look at this thing where you're like, hey, I've got a 4-day streak going. I'm not going to break it today, even though I'm a little tired. I'm still going to go for a walk. I'm still going to, eat right or go work out or whatever it is, whatever you've got on your list, going to write, whatever it may be, because you don't want to break the streak. And that, I think, is kind of helpful to keep yourself going because you can't rely on motivation forever because that will fade. And eventually you'll start thinking about the task and start making it worse in your head than it actually is. And this kind of keeps you going. It's one little extra boost, which isn't too much of an ask. That's all I have for this week. I will catch you next week in another video.